For all of those who have joined us for the very first time, let me just quickly give you an introduction to what we're going to do today. Welcome to all of y'all, and especially Chef Harry, to the second episode of Recipes for Success by I.I.M.U.N. It is a series of thought-provoking conversations that we try to have with chefs whose journeys have redefined the entire understanding of culinary excellence for people our age, or for the Gen Z. And through this series we're trying to inspire students who are passionate about culinary arts, and while also examining how important food is in terms of shaping global perceptions for India. I'm sure you will also agree, Chef. And strengthening India's soft power. So once again, thanks to everybody who has joined us. And of course, the person in front of you needs no introduction, but Chef Harry, I sat and wrote your introduction, so I'm going to read it out. They say food is the way to the heart, but let's just be honest here, it's also a way to a great Instagram post. Whether it's a viral butterboard or a simple home cooked meal, food has a magical way of bringing people together. And nothing does it like food does.
Totally.
And if you have seen, and if our audience has watched Ratatouille, you would understand anyone can cook, chef, but it takes skill and creativity and innovation to make it big in this culinary world. And it is honestly a little scary to students and Gen Z, like we like to call ourselves, to step into something that we are not very sure of. And for the same, today we have someone who embodies the spirit of excellence in the culinary world, Chef Harish Closepet, the founder of Harry's Lunchbox. From serving up delicious meals to adding a creative twist to the corporate world, Chef, you've redefined the way we experience food, be it actually eating or consuming it on Instagram. So let us dig into this journey and uncover Chef's recipes for success.
Really?
Sir, and this time we're going to go deep into understanding the entire career in terms of culinary. But and when I say dive deep, I really want to understand how, from the grassroots level, you started with this career, in culinary arts or in the culinary field. You had two daughters in a gap of 8 years, and you had to cater to two different styles of cooking for them, because I'm sure they must have had, because they are different age groups altogether.
Definitely.
So they must have had different preferences. So how did your journey begin, and how did Harry's Lunchbox come into being?
Before I start that, I would like to thank you all for joining this platform today. And also, I would like to have your introduction a little bit so that everybody knows, and I know as well. So,
my name is Snigdha. I am originally from Mumbai. I have been a volunteer at I.I.M.U.N for a few years now. And I serve as a director in the organization.
Fantastic. So nice. So very proud of you. Yeah. Okay. So coming back to the question. So I've always enjoyed cooking. So when I lived in Singapore, that was the early part of my career. Also lived in Australia for about 10 years. So 4 years in Singapore, 10 years in Australia gave me a lot of exposure in terms of understanding different cuisines and different palates as well. So I come from a vegetarian family, but when I traveled around, I tried all sorts of food just to understand the different profiles. And of course, I only cook vegetarian food. I enjoy cooking vegetarian food. I've done a lot of innovation in vegetarian food. So, but when I traveled, I used to always, I was see my job, though it was not in the food industry, I was sort of in the food industry. When I worked in Australia, I was a confectionery buyer for a very large retailer. And then I also ran a chocolate factory in Melbourne for about 4 years. So I would like the Willy Wonkers. I used to, produce almost 20 tons of chocolates every day.
Wow.
So yeah, so it was a crazy job. So I've always been connected with food. So I, at home, I had, my older daughter, initially she was very demanding. She always wanted something different every day. So that made me more and more creative. So then came my younger daughter, Isha. So she not only encouraged me to cook, but she also joined me in some of my cooking as a young girl as well. So, so basically, both my daughters and my wife as well. So they were always happy to try something new, and so that gave me a lot of encouragement to cook something different every time. In 2018, I think I cooked almost 150 different lunch boxes in 1 year. So that was final year. I mean, I think that was the first year of my daughter's college. So every day I used to cook something different. So that in fact I don't know whether you guys are aware. Me and my wife also started Itsy Bitsy, which is art and craft tour. And of course, we call ourselves the most creative business in India because we churn out, you won't believe we create almost 10,000 new SKUs every year. So 10,000 new SKUs every year. Imagine our minds are going crazy all the time. So that's how Harry's Lunchbox started because when Isha, my second daughter, saw how creative I am in cooking, she said, "Dad, why don't we put a post on Instagram and let us see what happens." So the first post went pretty crazy. So then we realized, people want to see more of lunchbox solutions, more of creative lunchbox solutions. So that's how we started posting. I've only done 100 posts or something. As I said, Itsy Bitsy keeps me very busy. I also do a bit of consulting for, startups, food startups as well. Just help them out. I don't even charge them any money, just more mentorship. So I just help them out in giving ideas and things like that. So yeah, that keeps me sort of connected to the food industry. And also I use my creative energy in Itsy Bitsy and redirect that to the food industry as well.
That is so beautifully said, sir. And I can't believe how many diverse career options you've tried so far. And you've been thriving in all of them. Be it a creative store or a creative journey, you're creating an experience for everyone. And when it comes to cooking, you definitely excel. And you mentioned that you also kept trying new things, and even when it came from your daughter, who's definitely much younger than you. So
Yeah.
it is difficult for students like us to convert our passion into something that may be scalable, or that may also get us economic gains, right? So like you said, when you had started with Harry's Lunchbox, you just posted once, and then in some time you started growing.
Yeah.
Right now, Harry's Lunchbox has around 1,600,000 followers who drool over your recipes and your reels. So how did you, convert this entire passion into something that we see today? And plus, when you were doing this, did you face difficulties, or what was the toughest step according to you when you were, on your journey to build Harry's Lunchbox?
So I think what drove Harry's Lunchbox, without our knowledge, was we were filling a niche in any business. If you're filling a niche, your growth is evident. So we were filling a niche of a father cooking for a daughter, which is something unique, and then we were also filling a niche of a man cooking. That's another part. And also it was a lunchbox solution, which is a question mark every morning for any mom or dad to what do I put in the lunchbox today. So that's always if I find more time, I would like to put out one recipe every day. In fact, I have a database of 500 recipes which I want to do. So, but yeah, hopefully in the near future I'll be more regular. But yeah, so there were multiple areas where we were solving problems and where we were adding value to the society, that a man can cook as well, a dad can cook as well. So that's how I think it took off really well. So when people ask me, I've been posting thousand reels, but I don't get views. I always tell them, guys, one, I mean, I really don't understand Instagram algorithm, but what really works is trying to find a niche where people will see it adds value to their life in following your page. So I also follow many pages where I either get entertainment or information, or it simplifies my life. So if you are in one of those three areas, definitely you will see a lot of growth. And today, Instagram is not just a social media platform.
Absolutely.
It is money. It is money eventually, and it can give you a career. It can give you a business. It's like it's almost like you having a database of people who would support you if you do the right thing.
Absolutely. And, Chef, you just mentioned how you broke a lot of stereotypes on your way to Harry's Lunchbox. You mentioned how people were noticing there's a man cooking in the kitchen. Then, there was a man cooking for his daughter. There was a father figure also involved. So, when we traditionally see mothers being the figure who would pack lunch and then, ensuring that their kids have finished that lunch. While you talk about breaking stereotypes, Chef, at I.I.M.U.N, also we believe that it is necessary for us to change narratives,
Yeah.
and to understand, that there is also another side of the story. So when you are changing these narratives, how do you ensure that there is a balance between your dishes when it comes to a global outlook, and the Indian essence in your dishes, like how we have seen you've made dishes which are Indian in sense, but then they're made out of tofu, which is not intrinsically Indian. So how
Yeah.
do you balance that global outlook while also maintaining that Indian essence?
See, like I am serving basically I'm serving an Indian palate, right? So that is what. But now with all the global exposure, every child, I have met, they all say, I mean, if you ask what is your favorite food, they say pasta. So, but if you make a very traditional pasta, I don't think they will eat it. So I Indianize a little bit, maybe, Asianize a little bit. So that's when I see, people liking it much better than a very standard, boring tomato sauce pasta. So that's how I look at it as a solution for an Indian, household. That's how I look at it. And of course, with all my global knowledge of travel, I add in a bit of Mexican, but I still keep in mind an Indian kitchen and the Indian kitchen's everyday raw material. I don't deviate too much from. I do a little bit, but I don't. I still try to use a lot of rice. I try to use your chickpeas. I try to use a lot of your basic things which many people use.
Right, so rightly said. And when you talk of staying true to your roots, I think, and especially for a generation like ours, where I think
Yeah.
it's so difficult to maintain a balance, we have such extreme opinions. I think what you explained, that you should always remain intact with your roots, but also have a global outlook, which you received when you were traveling and you were experiencing new countries. I think that is going to help us a lot in the future when we are making decisions. I think we'll make a little more informed decisions once we've learned about this. And you also talked about kitchens, working for different kitchens, and
Yeah.
let me just bring in one of, I think, India's most revered kitchens, MasterChef India. You
Yeah.
created magic there. And
Thank you.
especially the watermelon rice, it was all over the internet. And
Yeah.
it was 80% water
Yeah.
and rest of it rice. But 100% genius, I would say. So how did you experience, how did that experience shape your approach to creativity? And how did your business in creativity field also play a role in this?
Yeah. So, as I said, when we are doing a scrapbook project or a mixed media project, we know we have 10 different things in front of you and you do something out of it. So I think for me, cooking, if you ask me to cook with any 5 ingredients, I'm very comfortable with it. I can definitely create something with any 5, 3, 4 ingredients. So similarly, when I was given the challenge to cook without water, I was the oldest member in the whole team. We had some really fast guys in the team. They ran and took the 2 tender coconuts from the pantry. When I reached, there was no tender coconut, and I was. In fact, originally I planned I'd do something with tender coconut, but there was no tender coconut. There was luckily one watermelon. I picked it up, and I knew I have water with me in some shape or form. So then I figured out I got to do something with it. So when I went, I technically had 1 minute to think what to do, and I thought I'd do a really cool watermelon rice because I visualized the flavor. I thought it's going to give a bit of a fruity flavor. And, it's similar to the Kashmiri palav, which, you get in Bangalore, where they add a bit of, fruity and fruit pieces in it and things like that. So they add dry grapes, sultanas, and cashews. So I thought, let me sort of bring a fruity flavor to the rice. So that's how I started cooking. When I started cooking, I realized, okay, I need a good crunch to this. So then I thought I'll give a pumpkin seed tadka, so that even gave a really cool crunch to it. So overall, the rice came out really tasty. You won't believe, you should try it. It's very, as I said, it's no rocket science. Just cook rice in watermelon juice and add a bit of spices, and you get amazing flavoring. So that's really cool. I've cooked few more times after that, and every time it tastes different because it depends on the fruit.
Absolutely.
So it's not that every time you get the same taste. I think recently when I cooked, the fruit was too sweet, so the rice was too sweet. So once I cooked, the fruit was not sweet enough, so I got it's like a spicy flavor. So yeah, but as a creative dish, I really enjoyed it. I think it gave me more confidence in experimenting things outside my already experimental boundary. So I really enjoyed it.
So it is really, trial and error when it comes to these experimental dishes. It's not really rocket science, is what you're saying.
No, you can see.
Right.
See what my recipes are all very forgiving recipes. See, I even don't put how much of what you have to put in my recipes. If you go up and down, it really doesn't matter. So that's how I cook. Most of my recipes are very forgiving. So that's why people enjoy recreating my recipes. So if you put more watermelon juice, really doesn't matter. If you put more spice, really doesn't matter. More salt. Especially one secret I do in my cooking at home is I use 50% pink salt and 50% white salt.
Okay.
So when you have this, you can pre-mix and keep it. So this becomes a more forgiving salt. So if you put more, it doesn't become too salty. So that is one little secret. We've been doing it for over 10 years now, so at home. So that's one tip you guys can do as well.
Thank you for spilling that to us. And you're talking about recreating your recipes. I can see a lot of comments from our audience. They either are going to recreate or some of them have already tried your watermelon rice and they're saying it's magical. I am curious, you created this recipe in the MasterChef kitchen. So have your daughters tried this recipe yet?
I mean, I have tried, but my daughters have not yet. No, but they've tried eating. I mean, they've been eating. So
Right.
I've recreated. Sorry?
What was their reaction?
Yeah, I mean, they loved it. They really couldn't believe. I mean, you can't believe it's made from a fruit juice. It doesn't taste like a fruit juice recipe. It tastes like just like a like a biryani or a palav thing with a bit of a fruity flavor. So it's a very nice, yeah, it has a really nice mouth feel as well.
Understood. And you were mentioning how you went with some other plan and you ran out of coconut, which is why you came back with a watermelon. I feel like if our generation or someone my age was in there, we would have just grabbed a Maggie packet, made a Maggie, and called it a day. Of course, you can't do it on national television, but I think that is what we do, and we like to call ourselves the hostel chefs who are
Yeah, I
surviving on
know.
instant noodles only. So,
Yeah.
I want to understand. This is for all the students who are living in hostels and cooking
Hmm.
Maggi almost every day.
Yeah.
Are there any budget-friendly skills or recipes that you would advise us to try, which is also going to improve our cooking skills and help us say diversify our taste and our cooking journey or cooking skills?
So when imagine you're in a hostel. I mean, like what I used to do when I wanted a quick meal
Yeah.
was to do a stir fry with whatever vegetables. I mean, I was in Australia just 2 weeks back, and I did that every night because we were busy. So I would just chop some vegetables, put onion first, and then depending on the hardness of the vegetable, go progressively, and then add a bit of rice from your freezer. So it's not fried rice. It's not rice dominant. It's a vegetable dominant, and you can add a bit of paneer or tofu into it, and just a small bowl will keep you going all day or night. I mean, it's just so refreshing, and that's what I used to do a lot. And you can keep changing. One day you can put rasam powder to it. One day you can put a Malaysian curry paste. Next day you can put. I mean, it's the same base, but you keep changing the flavor. One day you can put garam masala. One day you can put your Italian spices and throw in some olives. So basic stir fry with some rice mixed into it with your favorite spices as you keep changing. This is something which you can cook in 10 minutes, but you make
Amazing.
sure your frozen rice. Frozen rice is better than refrigerated rice for this recipe, because frozen rice gives a very good texture, and it doesn't stick to each other. So it really, so when you go to Malaysia and go to street side, you have nasi goreng, which is the Malaysian fried rice.
Right.
They always use frozen rice. So that's when I learned, frozen rice gives a much better texture.
Amazing, and I think a lot of us are going to try this. I mean, the only kind of rice stir fry that I have had is the fried rice, the regular fried rice that you have. But I think this is a newer take, and for people who,
It is
uh,
more nutritious than fried rice, because fried rice is 90% rice and 10% vegetable. Here it is 80% vegetable, 20% rice.
right. And it is also, like you said, quick to make and easy to understand recipe. Also, it's not like there is a set formula, you need to
No,
follow that
no, no,
formula,
no.
or the answer could be wrong. So,
Yeah.
this is very easy and
Very easy. And
absolutely.
tofu, you can use tofu if you're a vegan, or you can use chicken if you're a non-vegetarian. So that one protein can keep varying, or you can use chickpeas. It's up to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And which is why I think this is the sole purpose of series like the Recipes for Success series, where we get to hear from, real life mentors like you. You mentioned earlier in the live also that you are mentoring a lot of startups.
Yeah.
And, understanding and finding that correct guide in your life is so important, especially at an age like ours where we are just stepping into that real outside world. So, and you have worked with a lot of talented chefs, and then you are mentoring a lot of upcoming chefs. How important do you think is for somebody to find a mentor for themselves, and what are the best qualities of a mentor according to you?
Actually, finding a mentor is the right mentor is very important for any. I mean, I'm not telling for any business, for any person as well. So
Absolutely.
in most cases, people, kids go to their parents for mentorship. But of course, there are people outside the parent sphere as well, because you can't get every solution from your parent. Obviously, if you're in a professional space, you need to reach out to professional people who can help you. So mentorship is very important, and getting the right mentorship, I would say, don't stick to one mentor. You need, multiple mentors. See, now when we started business, mentorship was not not a today it's a business. People, you can even pay money and get mentorship, and those days it was, it was a friendly thing. But we used to also find those days people were not very open about how their businesses were going, what are the secrets of their business. Today people are more open. uh, if you ask me about it, see, I'm very open about how we grew, what you can do if you want to start a business. So I think in today's world, finding the right mentor is easy as well, and it's necessary as well. It's a huge necessity to have the right mentor.
So rightly said, sir. And if what would happen, according to you, when we talk of mentorship and when we talk of our generation, it has been noticed that 70% of the youth from our generation, they
Yeah.
are ready to let go of jobs to find that right mentor who would put them in the correct direction,
Yeah.
right? And one of these directions or one of these niches being sustainability. For our generation, we feel like sustainability is equally important as much as economic development for us and for the nation. So, what is your take on sustainability? Do you think the cooking industry, the culinary industry, can be 100% sustainable in the coming years?
Cooking industry is driving towards sustainability. I think we are seeing a lot of changes, especially in Europe, and hopefully a lot of it is going to come down to India as well.
Right.
So I think the environmental friendly, the solar power, all these things are making cooking, definitely sustainable. And I'm also so much for the Gen Z, looking at sustainability, because see, we did not have solutions, even if we wanted to, solutions were not available. I think you guys are going to be the driving force to make this world sustainable. Still a long way to go, a big, long battle. So I wish you all good luck, and I'm with you guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for those well wishes. Definitely, with conversations like what we have with people like you. Earlier, I feel like generations before us couldn't have such conversations, so they didn't know what the real life looks like. For us, all the industries are glamorous. Today, if we talk of the culinary industries, and if we talk about all those popular chefs, it is all glamorous to us, but then when we get to know the insights from you, and like when people like you take out the time, sit with students like us, I think we will, like I mentioned, make more informed choices about career and about the country, and going forward also for the nature, for the environment in the future. But that is all thanks to mentors like you who help us out at
Appreciate.
each and every juncture. A few questions are there in the chat box as well.
Uh-huh.
And I remember someone asking, what is your favorite food to cook? And so if you could, just answer our questions here, your favorite food to cook, and some time when you were experimenting a dish and, it didn't turn out the way you thought. How was that like?
Um, so my favorite dish to cook is pasta, because
Can
my daughters
definitely
love
see
it,
that
and
in
I,
your
yeah,
reels.
so I do a lot of variations in pasta. So
Right,
that is something I really enjoy.
right,
And of course, if you ask me, one of the traditional dishes I enjoy cooking is I cook rasam in the stone pot, you know.
right.
So my mom's recipe. So that is also something I enjoy. So being a South Indian, rasam is a staple, used to be a staple food. Now it's like become a rarity because in our house we hardly make rasam. So, um, and yeah, when you cook, of course, things go wrong. Especially when you do desserts. Desserts need a lot of patience. Baking needs a lot of patience. So you could go wrong in those areas. But when you cook, see, in my biggest friend is my frying pan. I mean pan. Okay, cooking pan. So I do most of the things in my pan. So in a pan dish, it's very rare you get something wrong because there's nothing much to go wrong. So most of my dishes, even my curries and all, I visualize them much before, and they're quite flexible. So I really don't see huge blunders happening. But I've not had like huge blunders because I visualize the dish quite well before I start the process.
Yeah, I feel like, for us, even if I were to visualize everything, I would still go wrong and probably the kitchen will blow
I think
up. But
if you start with my stir fry solution, you'll start loving food.
I
Yeah.
can I can definitely see myself using a pan for
Yes.
easy stir fry options. We have
Yes.
one more question in the audience, which is the most versatile utensil in the kitchen according to you?
I just told you it's my pan. Pan is the most versatile. You could do everything with a pan. In
And,
fact, we go to China, once a year. It just sorry, we time without we'll cook. We take things and cook. We had taken a pan, and the hotel we checked in, they said you can't do open cooking.
right.
So then we bought two rice cookers, the electric rice cookers.
Okay.
In two rice cookers, we stayed for 10 days. We cooked curry, we heated chapati, we made chapati and cooked chapati. Just have to press it down and it works. So then we did all sorts of things. We made idlis, everything in the rice cooker. So we were so innovative. We
Right.
made so many types of sabjis, everything in a rice cooker. So if you ask me what's the most versatile, I think if you know how to use it, of course, pan is very easy. Rice cooker is also very versatile.
Wow, beautiful. There's one more question about aesthetics, right? Because people say that you look at the food, you eat it with your eyes first, and then you consume it
Yes.
actually. So, how important are aesthetics and the plating of that food that you've cooked, according to you?
So ethics and plating are two different questions. I'll answer them separately. So ethics is, I think Ranveer Brar once mentioned when I was on MasterChef, if you have to open a restaurant, uh, you have to open to feed
Right.
people, not to make money.
Right.
So that is where the ethics is important. So you have to be very honest in what ingredients you use and
Absolutely.
the process of cooking. So if you are having two standards, one to cook ingredients for your home and ingredients for your restaurant, obviously you'll go wrong. It is
Right.
not a long-term sustainable business. So ethics is very important. I think people today don't mind paying 10 rupees, 20 rupees more if you're going to use better ingredients.
Right.
So if you really want to be in the competitive space where you want to sell, idli for 10 rupees, you have to use automation, but not cut the corners in terms of quality. By automation, I've seen recently one of my friend, he was telling there is this chapati making machine which can make 8,000 chapatis in a day, and the chapati cost will be 1 rupee 10 paisa. So that is still very ethical because you're using automation.
Definitely.
So I think that is what ethics is all about. You just have to be very honest in what you serve. Then it comes to presentation. my imagination only goes into the lunchbox. That's why I was so pathetic in presentation on
Right.
MasterChef.
Then,
So, if you give me a plate, my mind fails to think how do I put things on it. But I think nowadays I've improved. You should ask my daughters.
you
So
yet
I've
did
improved.
wonders. You yet did wonders with the plating at MasterChef.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, my presentation is very important. Um, yeah. Recently, I went to this Indian accent in Mumbai, and I just loved the presentation of the chef there. I mean, it's just incredible. Yeah, I've been to many restaurants around the world. I've always seen amazing presentations. Uh, I think having the balance between the empty plate and the filled plate is very important, and having the right colors, textures, talking to you very important. So yeah, so I think I'm still in the process of the learning presentation. Hopefully, very soon.
Absolutely, and now the audience is saying that we also need to talk to your daughter sometime soon. You've given us so many stories about your experiences with your daughters tasting your food. We're so curious to understand that. And initially I had mentioned, Chef, how I.I.M.U.N is trying to bring food, which is already a soft power, for India, to get it on the global platform. And
Yeah.
I think it has made its way all the way to Switzerland, because
Yeah.
we have the privilege of Chef David joining us from Switzerland. Chef
Wow.
has a few questions for you, and if you allow, I'll just
Sure.
hand over to Chef David. Over to you, Chef.
Sure. Fantastic. Hi,
Thank you
Chef.
very much. Chef Harish, what a pleasure.
Pleasure. My pleasure too. How are you, David?
Fine, thank you so much. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be able to talk to you for a little while. And thank you, Snigda, for that wonderful interview. I have been learning a
Amazing.
lot of things. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. So,
Thank you.
Chef, my name
Yeah.
is David. I
Uh-huh.
am a French Mexican chef,
Wow.
and I'm a teacher here in Switzerland for Culinary Arts Academy.
Fantastic.
Here in our school, we have a wonderful Indian identity because we have a lot of Indian students that come with us to study every year for multiple months. So we're very
Fantastic.
happy and honored to have someone like you. First of all, I'm in completely admiration of what you do, and I
Yeah.
relate to you very much because I love to cook for my daughters also, for my family.
Fantastic.
And it's amazing, but what you do is really extraordinary. And if you don't mind, I would like to ask you three little questions just so our
Sure.
students that are
Sure.
following.
Sure, Chef. Sure.
Thank you very much. So, Chef Harish, first of all, what do you think nowadays, culinary schools like ours, like Culinary Academy in Switzerland,
Yeah.
what should we focus on to teach and to form a new young chefs, the future chefs for future generations? What we should focus on? What do you think is the priority for them to learn in a culinary school?
I think the biggest thing they all need to learn is culinary. Yes, of course, you'll teach them all the cooking, and so all these youngsters today. I'm not blaming anyone. Don't take it personal. They're all expecting magic to happen in 15
Yeah.
days. So they want everything to happen like that because they're used to Instagram, right? So I think you should teach them a little bit about how the process of becoming a professional works. I think that's very, very important. They need to have a lot of patience because when I go to these five-star hotels or any good hotels, I keep asking the chefs, and some of them are 24 years old and they've already changed 4 jobs. So that is something which they have to understand more than anything when they get into the profession, to have a bit of patience and learn the dishes. Experiment. If you get a job which allows you to experiment, of course, what all you learn in the culinary schools can all be experimented and learned in a very professional way. I think I suggest you have to teach them a lot of patience on how to get into the profession.
Certainly, and thank you very much for that advice, and especially Chef for students that probably saw you in these MasterChef competitions, etc. Do you
Yeah.
think for culinary students, for young chefs, it's a good experience to, I don't know, maybe join a local contest, culinary contest in their own cities, in their own countries? Do you think that provides them with some important experience or skills that they will need to join the industry?
I think so, 100%. Because when I went on MasterChef, of course, see, every chef has a certain set ideas on, how to cook, what to cook, and what are their favorites, what are their, what they don't like, and the certain ingredients they don't like. So when you work with these teams who come from diverse experiences, diverse cultures, so you break all those barriers and you start experimenting with so many different things, and you'll also see people appreciating your cooking, and also so there I today have a very friendly group of critics as well. They even say, okay, this is not good, you can change it. Like, so I think also we learn very strong and healthy competitive spirit during these competitions.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
that really
so
helps.
that can be very positive, no, for the
Yeah,
students. Yeah.
yeah.
So, and Chef Harish, one a last question.
Mhm.
You know, I've been working here for Culinary Arts Academy Switzerland for almost 7 years now, and
Yeah.
the students that I used to get 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, are very different from those who just arrived. This world of culinary arts has changed, I think, a lot in
Yeah.
5, 6 years, 10 years. So, what do you see is the trend, the biggest culinary trends? Because I know that you are very invested in vegetarian cuisine. So, what do you identify as the trend, the culinary trend for the future?
See, my daughter runs a business called Cosmics, which is a vegan plant-based protein business. What she says is you have to reinvent yourself every day if you have to stay in business. So that is today's trend. It is changing. It is so dynamic. If you ask me what is trending today, when I talk to all one is the most healthy part which is trending, which is vegan, and the most unhealthy part which is trending is the dessert business. In between is all moderate. Desserts are going crazy. Vegan businesses are doing really well. So that is for today, but we don't know what is tomorrow because the dynamics today's world is changing so fast. So I really, but I think veganism has a long-standing growth. If you look at it, when I go to a lot of the restaurants now, they have vegan menus. I mean, this change is only the last 2 years. I was in Australia just 3 weeks back, and most of the cafes, restaurants had a separate vegan menu. So I was really amazed. You can get cafes offering oat milk cappuccino and all. I mean, that's fantastic. So I see that as a huge opportunity.
And certainly, chef, you are one of the chefs now making this business, this passion, this profession evolve thanks to your creativity and
Really
everything you're
appreciate
doing. So, chef, it was a great pleasure to join you in this live. Thank you very much, Snigda and everybody. I send you a big kiss, big hug from Switzerland, and I hope to have
it.
you
Now,
one day, probably
hi to
soon, with
all
us.
your students as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Chef. Thank
Bye.
you so much for
Thank you.
joining us. And
It was
Chef Harry, those answers are amazing. I think with this entire session, you've taken us on a roller coaster of experiences and learnings. You've talked about economics and how to scale a business. You've talked about social media, ethics in cooking, and not just in cooking. You've also explained us, the ethics in life and how to make informed and conscious choices I think for all the students, if they were seeking answers to their doubts, because one thing which is very difficult for generations like us to understand is that the first step is the most difficult one, but the most crucial one.
Yeah.
And you mentioned in the entire session also, you mentioned how it's okay to have certain setbacks or drawbacks in your journey,
Yeah,
because
of
it's
course.
an uphill, but there will be few downslopes as well. And one thing that we are also scared of are disappointing our parents, or not doing well in our careers. So I think you really opened our eyes when it comes to following our passion, and I hope that because of this session, a lot of people in the audience and the people who will watch it later, they learn to follow their passion and to take that first crucial step. We are reaching the end of this session. I want to end with this quick rapid fire round. I have prepared a list of words or phrases that I will say, and whatever comes to your mind first when you hear these words, you'd have to let us know. It's going to be a rapid fire, right?
Sure.
Let me start with your go-to comfort food. I think we already have an answer to it. But
Go-to comfort food
right.
is dal and rice. My go-to comfort
Lovely.
food. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you prefer sweet or savory?
Savory.
Okay. Your favorite cuisine?
Rasam rice.
What comes
Our
to your
favorite
mind when I
cuisine in the sense the whole cuisine or the
Yes,
dish?
let's do a cuisine as well. Yes.
Cuisine Italian.
Lovely. I can see that with the love of
Yeah.
pastas.
So, yeah.
And what comes to your mind, Chef, when I say MasterChef India?
The first thing comes to my mind is lots of fun.
We could see that fun. And what is your dream lunchbox guest?
A dream lunchbox guest would be Ranveer Brar.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
One must-have spice.
Sorry?
A must-have spice, according to you.
Must have spice, according to me, is jeera.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Because that
and
gives,
when I talk,
because I use that in hummus, I use that in guacamole, I use that in Indian dishes. So it goes sort of with everything. So I think it's a must-have.
during this entire session, you've dropped us so many recipes, knowingly, unknowingly. We're all going to go crazy in our kitchens now, and perhaps scare our mothers also while doing that.
Actually, I recently recreated one curry.
Right.
I mean, if you have a minute, I'll quickly tell you. So this is a coconut curry. You can do it with chicken, fish, or egg. I mean, I did with egg for my brother-in-law. So you can do it with egg as well, or any vegetables. Basically, you grind fresh coconut and ginger with some red chili, and also put 1 cup of coconut milk from a canned milk, not fresh milk. I mean, only then you get this, otherwise it'll break a little bit when you cook it. So then you cook it and just put some egg in it or fish, so it's a very simple recipe which my friend used to cook a long time back in Kerala. So I just recreated it and it came out really good. It's very simple. So the fresh coconut and coconut milk mixed together and ground together, it comes out really awesome.
Oh, beautiful. I think we're going to try that as well. And
Yeah.
because you have taught us to keep remixing our recipes, I think we'll also try remixing your remixed recipes.
Sure.
And then reach out to you saying, Chef, this is what we made. Right. Carrying on with our rapid fire, what comes to your mind when I say youth?
Lot of energy.
Okay. And when I say India?
Startups country.
Lastly, I.I.M.U.N, the organization.
I
What
think
comes to your mind?
it's a great platform to expand your creativity and of course get global knowledge in a unified platform.
Right. Thank you so much, Chef. I think with that, and you also, I think, put together the idea of I.I.M.U.N in one sentence. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure all of us have had a lot of learnings to take back on a personal scale or on a career level. And once again, also on behalf of the audience, I'd like to thank you for joining us. I hope we keep
Appreciate it.
hearing from you, and I hope we keep seeing more aesthetic lunch boxes.
Sure.